everybody, it is Poober here, and we're going to dive right into episode 2, which is actually going to feel like episode 1 because I hope you weren't all too attached to the previous map seed, but I have ended up changing the map that we're playing on. Part of the reason for that is that I thought more about it and I wasn't crazy about as much water as I had nearby, and it was almost a little bit too green, even though I said I was looking for definitely a little bit of a change of scenery compared to last season. And I know it's looking a little bit deserty now in this new map seed we're in, but one thing I'm actually really attracted to that I looked at on the map generation preview is this area over here, and I've walked around it a little bit. It's more lush than the current starting area we're technically in, but without being too green. It's got a little bit more variety, so we shouldn't get bored of the scenery too quickly, hopefully. And we also have a nice little starting area here with a little bit of water nearby, and then these 3 resources right nearby as well, surrounded by a couple of cliffs, even though there's a little biter nest over here, stone right here as well, and then of course we'll have to use this little lake for powering our steam and so on for the early game. So I know in my building a mega base tutorial, one of the tips I said was kind of look at your starting area and then assess where you want to end up kind of placing down your future base. So I think we're going to be starting in the starting area, essentially, using the lake and stuff nearby. But once we actually upgrade and start planning out further and further into our series, we're actually going to be moving more into the lush area. So we still get that variety of scenery compared to last season, but we still get kind of the better map settings that I am looking for. So a couple of the map settings I changed were including a little bit of the water variables, as well as I did decrease some of the cliff settings, and then I played around with the humidity and biome settings a little bit as well. How I ended up modifying the game settings are over here to the left-hand side, so you can mimic yourself the same settings if you want to, as well as the same map seed if you want to start playing on this map as well. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and just walk down to the 3 starting resource area, the coal, the iron, and the copper just below. And I already feel like I'm off to a better start than I was in episode 1, because in my journey walking around, kind of getting a better lay of the land like I usually do, I ended up farming some of the bigger boulders that I saw nearby, so we've definitely got an increase in stone compared to the first episode. I've also got a little bit more wood, and we're also going to be smarter this time around and not waste all of our iron on one single iron chest. So I'm already learning from my mistakes, and I'm going to start by kind of prioritizing iron this time around. We'll place a furnace there. And this will feel, like I said, a little bit like a first episode, but I think we're going to be able to actually get back to where we were ending in the first episode very quickly, just because I'm off to a much better start. And then farming more stone in the meantime while we wait for some iron to kind of pop out. We're definitely going to need to farm fuel as another priority. Ooh. That's interesting. I'm able to, even though I don't have a miner in my inventory, I'm able to like ghost pick up and place a miner like that. Prior to this episode, I also kind of played with a couple of the game settings, so I think that's something I'll want to modify after this episode is over. I don't necessarily want to pick up something and then have it place down a ghost, so I'll fix that once this episode is over, but we definitely do need to build another miner as soon as possible, so it's just a matter of waiting for the iron, which we now have. Making those burner miners. And then to answer a couple of your guys' questions, you made a couple comments regarding the first episode about doing the Lazy Bastard run. Yes, so I'm definitely not going to be focusing on that as my priority, at least for this Let's Play series. So I will not be doing that. In fact, I will let you guys know if that's something that we end up doing. Let's build a couple furnaces while we have the ability to, and then we'll need to place... Ooh, actually, let's just do the swap method now. There we go, and I don't know why I was putting a furnace there, but here we go. We'll get those 2 guys feeding into each other. We'll pick up some coal, and then... Oh, there's that ghost feature again, which I'll want to change. Just waiting on some more iron, and then making some more burner mining drills. We'll still focus on iron, I think, for the first couple of minutes. and then we can start worrying about copper and stuff like that. So while we're waiting for the iron to accumulate, let's grab a couple more pieces of wood from these nearby trees, since it seems like the coal farmers are a little slow at the moment. And then just like in the first episode, so last episode, I'm not using any mods currently, although that is subject to change depending on kind of the progress of the base or how plans change and things like that. And we've got 80. Let's make it an even 100-ish. We're up to almost 90 now. And there's 100. Okay. So we'll head back. Let's make a couple more miners and furnaces while we can. And I think we should be able to get to steam fairly quickly, I would imagine. Grab as much coal as we can, so we don't have to use wood. And I think for the heck of it, we're going to make one boiler, and we'll just kind of slowly build up the products needed for the steam engines eventually, little by little. I will definitely want to use some belts, so it'd be nice if we can get to belt tech compared to last episode as well. Getting to the point where we're not having to manually feed in everything would be nice. In fact, actually, let's just keep building miners. That's really the priority. Building more furnaces. Oh gosh, we're already out of fuel for that guy. And then I think just getting fuel from here to here would be nice. And this little cliff is in the way, so I think we're going to have to move everything down by at least 1 or 2. So let's do that. Let's see, does that leave me enough room? No. Okay. There we go. So that should leave enough room to place some burner inserters to pop fuel into there. We'll place that back there. Fuel there, and then belt here. There we go. So now we just have to move everything down by a couple. Yeah, this is already definitely a much better start than last episode. It's interesting, these little alerts. Whoops, I need to make a couple more. These little alerts that are popping up for me. You guys might have noticed them too if you've been playing on the newest patch here, but there's just a little bit more feedback about what's going right or wrong about your base, so to speak. So let's see, what will happen if I just, let's see. I'm just wondering if the excess will pop out like that. I'm actually not sure. Let's see, fuel, there we go. Hey, that seems to be working nicely. Actually, I've never done a setup like this before. It's probably a trick you guys know well, but again, I like hardly ever play the starting game because I'm always just kind of tweaking things in endgame mode. Ooh, we'll need more iron. Come on, hurry up. Oh, these guys need fuel, that's the problem. All right, we're gonna help those out a little bit here, and then we're gonna loop around the belts like so. And those will all have to go the other way. There we go, now we're back in alt mode. Okay, and then let's do, I just want to make sure these are getting plenty of fuel. This one kind of is not, but let's put in, oh no, that's not what we want. Well, I guess that's fine, whatever. This one really isn't working. Huh, okay. Let's do a couple more burner inserters. I think we're just gonna have to get surplus coming from the other miner as well, and then hopefully they'll kind of equalize after that. There we go. Give me my wood back. Alright, we'll continue making our belts that we can. We'll just send the coal and technically the wood now in a full loop around. That way it can kind of recycle upon itself. And then after that, I think we can start worrying about copper at that point. But there we go. We've got a tiny little iron mine automated. Can we do a couple more burner miners? Not really. Let's just extend it out as far as it can go. And I think we can fit one more. There we go. And then we can extend it out, you know, further down that way if we need to. We're definitely not making enough fuel though, I don't think. So let's focus on fuel and then we'll start focusing on copper. And I think we'll just mirror what we're doing on the other side, which is a little weird, I know, but it's working. And they just need a little bit to start off. There we go. All right, so I think we're in business for a little iron mining area. Now we can move on to copper, which is just below here, which is really convenient. Let's grab our excess iron. And it doesn't look like maybe this technique is working as well as I was hoping. This guy is already out of fuel. And this guy isn't really feeding into... Oh man, this technique doesn't work. Okay. Scratch that. Scratch this idea. I think we're just going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, which in my case is this really ugly, like, really ugly, what you call it, like miner setup. We've got this weird distribution of belts and inserters and things like that. But we'll do something like that, and we'll do something like that so they can get fed. So there we go. Oh, yeah, that should work. Okay, we can extend one more there. Let's do one more furnace here, and then we'll start finally moving on to copper. I know I keep saying that. All right, there we go, looking good. We'll grab as much iron as we have built up in here. And then moving on to copper, finally. I think we'll just do kind of the same setup. So let's see if we can just duplicate that, but for copper. There we go. Now we just have to fill in everything and then trash that. But that way we make sure we get everything where it needs to go. And then we'll do an inserter trick to get the copper and the fuel, or not the copper, but the coal and the fuel down here. I probably don't need 73 of those, but there we go. That should help a little bit. Okay, grab even more iron. Gosh, it's already like a competition, it seems like, to get all of the resources I need. I'm just never having enough. All right, but now we can start placing down the belts. And then how many of these there are? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 of the burner inserters we'll need. And then of course we'll need several more mining drills. There we go, and then just the furnaces to finish it off. And then of course getting the fuel down here. So the trick I do in the early game is just, since we don't have any splitters yet, I just use a inserter to kind of split it off from the previous lane, and then something like that will work just fine. I guess one thing though is we no longer have it kind of circling, recycling back into itself, so I think that'll be okay. Oh, I need to extend that one more. That should be okay because it should just kind of continue circling around here and then build up as needed. So we can place those now. And then because the burner inserters should just pick up the coal and start working, I shouldn't have to manually place the fuel into either of these items. It should just do it automatically as it is now, so that's great. We'll just add that because I don't need it in my inventory. So in just a couple minutes, hopefully, I'll be having an influx of copper plate coming in. Let's go ahead and grab our excess iron plate though, of course, which we always need. And then I suppose we should do some automation of stone at some point, but I do have such an excess, thankfully, from farming all of those rocks by hand earlier. I'm not really considering that a priority, especially because the stone is all the way over there. Ooh, but look at my pollution cloud already. And this nest is already in that field, so I'm going to have to be very careful. I'm going to build a couple bits of ammo. Ooh, and definitely light armor, just to be on the safe side. And these guys don't have fuel quite yet. I might just manually add the fuel to the furnaces by hand just to kind of speed up everything for now. And then we'll definitely need to add more to the coal miners. There we go. But how quickly could I get steam up and running, do we think? Let's see. So, it is a 2-to-1, meaning you need, ideally, 2 steam engines per 1 boiler. But that doesn't necessarily mean we need to have the proper ratio right off the bat. But I think we'll at least leave it at, or start with the 2-to-1 ratio. And then, of course, we'll need some... Oh, there's the pipe. Okay. Pipe. And then, good thing I'm not doing that lazy bastard run because I'd already be well filled by this point, I would imagine. Oh, crap. But I... See, for steam, of course, I need coal up there. Shoot, or do I just want to do pipes? I don't know. Oh, man. I guess I better belt all of the coal all the way up there. That's okay. We're just gonna kind of mimic what we're doing, or mirror kind of what we're doing on this side too, which I know is a little ugly. This is all very ugly, so don't expect anything beautiful quite at this point. Crap. How do I want to do this? Need more belt. The early game is so hard when you don't have splitters and underground belts and stuff like that. Alright, I know this is really weird, but that's like a really weird way of doing a loop there. So That should hopefully work. I don't know, we'll see. Either way, I need to extend the belts all the way up to our water over there before we can even worry about steam at that point. So we're gonna have to make a ton of belts by hand. And how's our copper doing? Not great. So basically the problem is we just don't have enough fuel, which isn't a surprise, I know that. Gosh, I know I said I was off to a good start, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll just add a ton of different fuel miners where we can. Oh, and I'm already out of iron. But let me know in the comments down below how your guys' first couple hours, or, you know, especially the first couple minutes into your new games go. Do you guys have special techniques that maybe you can share with me? Let me know, because I'm definitely not the best at starting the game. Oops, and oh, that's right, yeah, I want to do that. And then I'll want this that way, there we go. I know, that's really weird. Oh, gosh. We can just keep adding. Wow, this is ugly. I don't think I've ever done such a, like, crazy coal setup right off the bat. That is so freaking weird. Okay, belts are still getting built. Copper is slowly building up, but again, that is mostly an issue related to just not enough fuel to power the furnaces and all the miners and stuff like that. We're just barely keeping up, really. I'm gonna continue farming a couple trees just to help out the fuel situation a little bit here. Hopefully we can just power all of the additional coal miners that we're making. Okay, 70 bits of wood, that should help out a little bit here, hopefully. So we'll add the wood to the miner, or yeah, the coal miners there. And then we'll want to make more coal miners. More inserters, we need more iron. Gosh, we need more of everything. There we go. Okay. Hopefully they start to kind of increase the coal production here pretty soon. In the meantime, while we wait for that to happen, we can just extend this belt line all the way up to the water. Where, oh, and this is nice, the stone patches over here, so eventually we can just kind of take the fuel from this belt line over here and then eventually get stone farming automated too. And then the water is, yep, right over there, so where are my steam things? Okay, the boiler, we'll make two more, or yeah, one more of the boilers and then two more of the steam engines, and then we do have some pipe, but we'll need a couple straight pipes too, I think. Oh, and then of course we need the offshore pump, which I just have enough to make, I think. Let's get rid of that little rock. Okay, so because I like straight lines, I think we'll keep this as the coal line. We'll just leave it right there. We'll pipe in the water. And gosh, it's been so long since I have set up my steam engines. So let's see, what do we need? We need something like that, although I think we need a pipe in the middle to leave room for the electric poles, which I need more wood for my electric poles. Let's go grab some real quick. I'm used to wood being so expendable that I don't even worry about keeping it really. But we'll have to remember that we need it for the early game. Okay, so we can make 20 electrical poles. Hopefully that should be enough to get me down to the starting area. Oh, and cool, we have the coal now coming in, building up a little bit here. There we go. And we can do, we'll just underground it till we get to the water. And the offshore pump can go right there. Perfect. So now all we're missing are the 4 steam engines that I have. They go right there. So like I said, it's a 2-to-1, meaning we have 2 steam engines per every boiler. And then to actually get the power up and running, you have to place your electrical poles. That stops the yellow lights from blinking. And there we go. Technically, we have steam power. Now it's just a matter of getting the power poles all the way to the very end. I think we'll leave that there. And we'll put our power poles just on the sides here, I think. All right, so I think we're gonna go ahead and end it here because that means with episode 3, we can just pick up where we leave off and start worrying about automating and getting electric mining drills and electric things up and running at that point. And then of course, we'll also have to worry at that point about making sure we have some defenses because our red little ball of pollution is getting a little bit redder and a little bit bigger. So these guys are gonna become a problem. Oh, no! Oh my god. Man. I guess that could have been worse. But definitely proves my point that we're gonna have to start worrying about the biters, so I think we're still gonna end it here. I'm gonna repair this in the meantime, but wow, I suppose that is as good a place as any to end it right there. Regardless, I hope you guys will join me for episode 3, hopefully very soon.